I was entertained from the beginning to end, and I agree 100%, 200% with those quotes. It is improbable. You can poke holes in the story all you want.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is fun. What's up everybody, I'm Rick.
And I'm Anna.
And welcome to our bucket list channel, a channel in which we try to realize the goals and dreams that are on our bucket list. Today we work toward one of those goals, which is to watch every movie that was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Award from 1927 to 2028. And today's movie that we've watched and are going to review is Lady for a Day, the 1933 movie. This movie is, do you know which number of movie, total?
41.
Yes, it is the 41st movie. 41st movie we've watched. There is also the one lost movie that is hunting us, The Patriot, still out there somewhere, calling for us to watch it. But yeah, so for a total of 42 movies. This is again the 6th Academy Award, but the 7th total because we watched all the 2019 movies. And we're getting close to the end of this year.
Right, I think we only have more.
2 or 3, yes.
2 nominees and the winner.
Yeah, we're getting close. We've had some interesting movie this year, but I think this one is also going to be an interesting discussion. For those of you who don't know, the way we're going to have this discussion is first part of the review is spoiler-free. Second part will be spoiler-filled, meaning we're going to touch upon some plot element and some scenes or characters that we want to talk about in more details while spoiling the plots. Don't worry though, we'll warn you before we get to the spoilers. But Anna, before any of that, what do?
We do movie trivia.
Yes, so just some info, general info about the movie that we've watched. Like I said, the 1933 movie more specifically came out on September 13, 1933. This is a Columbia picture film. It is based on the short story Madame la Gimp by Damon Runyon, which was published in October 1929 in an issue of Cosmopolitan.
Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. The movie was directed by Frank Capra and stars May Robson as Apple Annie, Warren Williams as Dave the Dude, Guy Gibby as Henry D. Blake or the judge, Ned Sparks as Happy McGuire. This movie was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, Anna.
Okay,
so,
Best Picture.
Best Picture, of course, because that's why we watched it. Best Director for Frank Capra.
Okay.
Best Actress for May Robson as Apple Annie. Best Adaptation for Robert Grinskin, again based on Madame la Gimp. And yeah, that's 4. But out of those 4 nominations, there was 0 win.
Frank Capra? I've heard his name before. I don't mean in the movies that we've watched. I've heard the name. Like I've heard of him before.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
He made a lot of movies. I looked at his filmography. It's pretty huge. He was active up until very late in his life. And we're going to talk a bit about another movie that he made in a second. But speaking of Frank Capra and of his nomination for Best Director, here's a little anecdote for you.
Okay, tell me.
So, Will Rogers presented the Academy Award for Best Director, and when he opened the envelope, he simply announced, "Come up and get it, Frank." Capra, certain that he was the winner, ran to the podium to collect his Oscar, only to discover that Rogers meant Frank Lloyd, who won for Cavalcade instead.
Oh, what a mistake.
Oh, yeah. So we all remember the kerfuffle when La La Land was announced as the winner, but it wasn't really La La Land.
Right.
They were making mistakes even back then.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So let's talk a bit more about Frank Capra and about this movie.
Okay.
In the early 1950s, the original negative for the movie were lost while being transferred from one film lab to another. So for a period of time, there was only one copy of the movie left, which was a print owned by Capra himself, until he made a negative of it and donated it to the Library of Congress so that they could preserve the movie. Columbia Pictures sold the right to the movie later for $200,000 to United Artists, which allowed Capra to remake his movie as Pocketful of Miracle in 1961.
That's like 30 years later.
Yeah. He himself, Capra, claimed to prefer the remake to his original version, but most critics disagreed. For the critical reception, we already saw that it had
Different nominations.
yeah, so and that terms like the critics liked it, but they all had, or a lot of critics had something to say that I feel will kind of guide our conversation. So I pulled up two quotes from reviews here. Morton Hall from the New York Times said of the movie, "Its plausibility may be open to argument, but its entertainment value is not to be denied." Channel 4, well, I got only said Channel 4, so I don't know who said that, but Channel 4 called it wonderfully improbable and charming.
Okay.
And so Anna, this is it for the trivia. Let's get to our spoiler-free discussion. I pulled these quotes because I feel like they reflect my thoughts exactly.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah? And so before we get into that, like, would you say you enjoyed this movie?
I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was really it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really a comedy in the classical sense, but it had a lot of entertaining elements in that sense.
You think? I felt like it was a comedy. Like, there's no mistake.
Yeah, it was a comedy, but not the kind of comedy where they just give like a punch-like comic reply to something.
Yeah, but
you know?
a lot
That's
of
what I
comedies
mean.
are not like that.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I really liked it, and it was really entertaining.
Yeah, no, I also loved it. I was entertained from the beginning to end, and I agree 100%, 200% with those quotes. It is improbable. It is like you can poke holes in the story all you want.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is fun, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's why it really works as a comedy, you know? It's because you don't have to think about all this.
Yeah, exactly. Watching it, you're even thinking probably like, oh, they know this is kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
But they're going with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Never does the movie seems to take itself so seriously that you're like, oh, you didn't know this was a joke, right? But no, they kind of do.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Exactly.
Not that the movie is a joke, but that certain elements are unbelievable and
exactly like the way the story unfolds.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, what did you think of the performances? We saw that Mae Robson was nominated for Best Actress, which was a bit surprised because even though she's kind of the main character, she's not there that often in the second half of the movie.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that, but I thought it was very interesting that her character like goes through a transformation, right? And she managed to pull that really well.
Yeah.
Where like in the beginning she was one character, and then like in the second half of the movie she like transforms into another type of character, but at the same time she didn't lose like the core elements of her original character, so you can see that transformation
and
happen.
Both are believable, both performances. Like you're like, oh, I believe you are this character now, and I believe you've made this transformation to be this character
yeah
now.
exactly. So maybe that's what the nomination was for mainly, which I appreciated. I really appreciated.
You know, one of my highlights for this movie is Ned Sparks, who play Happy McGuire,
Okay.
Dan's assistant.
Yeah.
Kind of. I loved him the whole
Really?
time. Yeah, he was just there to make snarky comments in the background, but I loved it.
In the beginning, I didn't really like his performance, to be honest, because I felt like he just gives mechanical responses until I realized that is his character.
That's what it's about.
But
yeah.
at first I didn't realize it. At first I was like, wait, that line it feels like it wasn't delivered right. But then I realized like, no, that's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be. And it works. Yeah.
He knew what he was doing and he did it. Oh, I loved it. And also, like, Warren Williams as Dave the Dude, I felt was great. Again, when we talk about the spoilers and the story in more details, I think it's going to be fun to just look at how far-fetched a lot of this is.
Right.
But in terms of performance, I think they all did a great job.
I think that Williams' character had an essential role in this because it's his character that drives this story. It's him who puts things in motion.
More so than Annie
exactly.
Robson's character, yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, what did you think of the look of the movie? The different set piece, the sound, etc.?
I thought it looked really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really liked how they tried to depict the world, where the movie is set. New York, high society kind of thing. So I really liked what that looked like.
And
the sound was fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of different sets, the action doesn't only happen in one or two locations. They move around, there's a scene in the end where it's in the open streets.
Right.
There's a variety of elements here which I think it's understated that a lot of these movies that we've been watching, they happen in one or two locations because it's easier back then,
Right.
rather than to film outside. And so I'm always big thumbs up.
The outside scenes were also really well done.
Yeah.
So sometimes in these older movies, like the open air scenes, they're not always the best. You know, when we speak in terms of the technicalities, but in this case, they work really well.
Yeah, although I do think some of those outside scenes were not really outside.
That's possible.
Some of the street scenes, they're probably filmed inside. So Anna, let's just go into our spoiler section because I wanna talk about the story here. Warning: the spoiler section is happening. For those of you who are gonna skip this, don't forget that we have the ranking at the very end.
Right.
And so if you wanna just skip to the ranking, the description below will have a timestamp for you. Before we get into the spoilers, let's have a short synopsis of this movie. So this is the story of a gangster who tries to make Apple Annie, the Times Square apple seller, a lady for a day. Now the title of this movie is a bit misleading because she's a lady for like a
week or so.
Yeah, but still, it's the classic.
I feel like it's confusing that even the synopsis says the same thing.
A lady for a
day. It's not just for one day.
Though if you consider that maybe at the end is when she really becomes a lady, that last day, when the mayor and the governor, everybody else acknowledge her,
right,
and to this high society. But yeah, let's just talk about this plot.
Yeah.
So this is the story of an apple seller,
right,
whose daughter is coming from Europe with a count, and so she has to pretend, because she's been pretending,
right,
and letters.
In her letter, she wrote to her daughter that she lives at a hotel, that she's
high society, that she's
life,
married, that she has all these important friends, and so the daughter is coming, so she has to somehow fake this life with the help of Dave the Dude, who's some kind of criminal underground boss, who helps her because she's lucky to him. You know?
She brings him luck, is what he said.
Yeah. And so this whole movie, it's them trying to fake this thing for a week, a couple of days,
right?
So that they fool the count into thinking Annie is a high society lady. Let me tell you, a lot of moments you're kind of scratching your head like, that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But you're still entertained the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's talk about those moments when it doesn't work.
I mean, first the ending.
Yeah, exactly. When they pull off that big party with all those important guests and everything.
So the dude just convinced the mayor and the
mayor and the police
chief, the commissioner and the governor to come to this fake party just by telling them the story, and they're like charmed by it.
Right,
seems.
Exactly. Like, we should help this poor lady pretending that she's a rich high society lady so that her daughter can marry a count.
Yeah, like why would they care? One.
Right.
And two, would they even like listen to the dude? They'd be like, no, you kidnapped those reporters. Just give those reporters. We're not gonna help you.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the plot of a comedy. It doesn't have to make sense. But it doesn't. I had other questions, like from the very beginning. If Apple Annie is, who she is in the beginning, she's an apple seller. Why and how did her daughter get in Spain marrying a count?
Right. There's a hole in there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there are just stuff missing everywhere.
And why wouldn't she know at least enough stuff about her mom to know that her mom
is, like, actually poor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, before she left for Spain,
she
must have lived for a long time with her mom. And
right.
So like, so right after I left, you met this rich guy and now you're in high society?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. It just doesn't
mesh. But you don't think about it. You just let it flow, and then the movie tells you a story, and I enjoyed it the whole time.
Exactly, me too.
These were never elements. Like, when you think of it, of course you're gonna laugh and say, that doesn't make sense. But these were never elements that took me out of the movie or took out of my enjoyment,
Yeah, exactly. I think it worked really well. I think that the storytelling was really well done.
Because it's also endearing to see these criminals try to help this old lady.
Yeah.
And at first, they're just doing it quickly, like, rent the apartment for her. Get someone to
give her an apartment.
Yeah. And then that's it. We've
just
done
like
our job.
dress her nicely and we leave her there. But then it escalates. Like, wait, but she needs a husband. And then the people get there, but she needs to actually show that she's an important person. Like, she needs a high society party, she needs this, she needs that. Like, you can't just...
It never stops, and they get deeper and deeper in, and then the dude is like, I don't care even what this is about anymore. I started it, I'm finishing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
And
yeah.
it's so fun to see like his devotion for that.
Yeah.
You know, because from the beginning he's like, no, I'm doing this. For apparently no reason. I mean, his reason is just because, like you said, she brings him luck.
Yeah.
It's a stupid reason to begin with, right? But it's funny, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like they told the story that they needed to tell, so they really don't need to push it further than that. But there are some things that I would have liked to see, like how will they resolve. First of all, we see this kind of a relationship starting to kindle between Annie and her fake husband.
Oh, the judge.
Yeah, like
I love the judge too.
I love
you know?
the judge so much.
Because he's also, like most of them, a low class guy.
Right.
But he talks with such a fancy vernacular, as he says.
Yeah, exactly. But he impressed the count.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see, like, is something gonna happen there? You know, because sure, he's a low class guy, but he's not at the level of Apple, and he's still like a...
Yeah, he's smart.
He's a judge. He's a judge, like...
I don't think he's really a judge.
I think he was a judge.
You think?
Or at least he was a judge, and maybe he's a judge, but like he's not that important anymore. Like he kind of lost his
He's
status.
making his rent money by playing pool.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like maybe he was a judge, but then he kind of lost his status.
I thought they were just calling him that because he sounds so smart, but he's just like one of them, you know.
Oh, it's possible.
Not
they
in the
don't
sense that
really
he's
explain. They don't really say it, you know.
But we don't need to know, you know.
Exactly.
We don't even know like what Dave the Dude's enterprise is, like what kind of criminal activities.
Yeah, exactly.
Is
Don't even mention that.
Yeah, it's just like, oh no, he's a mob boss, like whatever.
Right. So yeah, that I would have liked to see like what happens there. And then the second thing is what happens when the wedding happens.
Yeah, because they said, oh, should we do it in New York? Should we do it in Spain? And everybody goes there.
Yeah.
They would expect the judge and Annie to go to the wedding.
Right, exactly.
And is
not only that, but you know, for high society weddings like this, you'd expect the parents to invite all of those important people.
Yeah.
You know, like it's, you know, where will it end? But it doesn't matter because that's like, it's like I said, you know, that was the story. They told the story. It was funny. And
there's no need to do a sequel.
Yeah,
know?
Exactly.
But of course, if you think about it,
yeah,
like, is Annie's daughter never gonna come back to New York to see her mom again?
Yeah.
You know, of course she would come back. And then what do you do at that point? Nowadays they would have made a sequel and a third sequel and
Also, I feel like nowadays they wouldn't have let it end like this. And that's something that I liked about the movie is that they didn't reveal the truth. They just kept it, you know, like that, like lighthearted and funny and comical.
Mm-hmm. Like how many times
But it didn't turn into like a drama, you know?
How many times have you seen those movies with someone faking their identity, falling in love with someone else?
Yeah.
And then at the end, the truth comes out, but I still love you even though you're poor and I'm a prince or whatever, you know? We've all seen those stories 100 times.
Yeah.
But here the truths never get revealed.
Exactly.
And I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't become that like dramatic story towards the end that makes you cry. No, it stays funny until the end. And that's it.
That was a nice movie. Anna, would you recommend this movie?
I would recommend it, yeah. You'll get a good entertaining time out of it.
I'd recommend it 100%. Now let's get to our ranking, shall we?
Yes, let's rank it.
So, the ranking as of now, without Lady for a Day, is number 6, A Farewell to Arms. Number 5, State Fair. Number 4, Smiling True. Number 3, 42nd Street. Number 2, She Done Him Wrong. And number 1, I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang.
Whew.
So where would you put Lady for a Day?
Can I look at the list for a second, please?
Yeah, sure.
I would probably put it at number 4.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
No way, really?
Yes, no.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This year's list, we're like 100% in agreement.
Yeah. I was gonna say the exact same. Number 4, I feel like it's just the perfect positioning. Like Smiling True, I was debating, like, oh, should I put it at 5? And then Smiling True was a good movie, but I feel like I was entertained more by this.
Yeah.
And there are less plot holes in Smiling True, way less.
Yeah.
But that's not the point, you know. They made this movie and they wrote it knowing what it was, and they succeeded at every turn.
Right, like they delivered it well.
Yeah. If you compare it though to 42nd Street, She Done Him Wrong, and of course I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, I don't think it holds up to...
Yeah, I feel like those movies are just more complex.
Yeah.
You know? So
But
you can
also-
like help but appreciate them way more.
They're more complex and also succeed in what they're trying
Yeah,
to do.
exactly.
And so you can't, I wouldn't be able to put Lady for a Day above any of those three. But yeah, number 4 seems perfect. So I guess we're in agreement.
Yes. So far, we only
Yeah.
have like what 2-3 more movies to rank.
Yeah,
So
we'll see how that ends. So our new list is at number 7, A Farewell to Arms. Number 6, State Fair. Number 5, Smiling Through. Number 4, Lady for a Day. Number 3, 42nd Street. Number 2, She Done Him Wrong. And number 1, I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang.
great.
Yeah, great. So that was it for our review of Lady for a Day, the 1933 movie. Really fun movie. Go watch it if you haven't seen it yet. If you want to see us review more of these movies, I invite you to subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed already. Like this video if you did. Comment in the comment section below. What do you think of these kind of story? You know, like the pretend to be someone else so that the X character doesn't discover. I thought this was one of the best example of these storylines. Which
Yeah.
you see a lot in movies.
Yeah, you see a lot, but
Yeah.
they did it really well in this one. So
Yeah, that was really great. So let us know in the comment section below if you like those type of stories. And yeah, check out the rest of the channel because we don't only review movies. We also do a lot of different things that are on our bucket list. A lot of interesting stuff. Look it up and have a nice day.
bye bye.
Your stepfather thought he might make the trip this year. You didn't know you had a stepfather, did you? Neither did I. The young man you write about sounds perfectly darling. I hope he loves you.